Hi, welcome back to Anime Recaps. Today, I will explain the movie, The Boy and the Beast. In the busy streets of Shibuya, young Ren frantically evades the attention of the street police. Finding haven in an alleyway, he shares his food with a tiny mouse. He names the mouse Chico. The lonely state of Chico reminds him of himself. Ren recently lost his mother. With his dad not in the picture, he was asked to live with extended family. Refusing to do so, he ran away, leaving him in his current homeless state. In the Beast Kingdom, Jutengai, the Grand Master ruler of the kingdom, has announced his retirement, which allows him to reincarnate as a deity. He names two potential successors, the popular Aizen, who has plenty disciples, and two children. The second, Komatetsu, who is powerful, but lazy and lonely with no disciples. The Grand Master instructs Komatetsu to find a disciple and hopes it will inspire him to succeed. While passing through the streets of Tokyo, Komatetsu stumbles across Ren nested between some bicycles. He is reluctant to interact with Komatetsu, even threatening to kill him. After getting a better look at him, Ren is surprised to see that he is a beast. Komatetsu looks deep into his eyes, sees potential, and offers Ren to follow him. Confused by the interaction, he stands frozen before following the beasts, but loses sight of them shortly afterwards. The street police chase him after realizing that he is a runaway. He evades the police for a second time. Ren follows Komatetsu after seeing a glimpse of him entering an alleyway. This leads him to Jutengai. He is harassed by some of the city guards, but is saved by the monk Hayakashobu. He explains to Ren that he is in a different world where beasts can become gods, unlike humans, and offer to lead him back to the human world. Komatetsu interrupts, surprised that he followed him. He officially makes Ren his disciple, though Hayakashobu is against the idea. Tatara, who is the companion with Komatetsu, explains the situation. Ren follows him home, but has not agreed to be his disciple. He is asked of his name, but is unwilling to say, but gives his age instead. His unofficial master gives him the name Kyuta as he is 9 years old. The next morning, Ren, now known as Kuta, has a fight with Komatetsu. He runs into town where he sees Aizen interacting with his two children, Ichirohiko and Jiramaru. The two Grandmaster prospects tease each other as Komatetsu looks for his runaway disciple. It all gets serious when it is revealed to everyone that Kyuta is a human child. Aizen explains to Komatetsu of the dangers of human, as they can harbor darkness deep in their hearts. This can put all the residents of the kingdom at risk. To settle their disagreement, they have a showdown. With Aizen having the support from the onlookers, he overpowers Komatetsu as Kyuta watches. Disturbed by the overwhelming support for Aizen, he cheers for Komatetsu to everyone's surprise. He is still knocked out as he eats Aizen's sword pommel. The current Grandmaster, Sashi, appears, putting a stop to the fight. He allows Kyuta to stay despite the dangers. The onlookers disperse as they get back to what they were doing. Defeated, Komatetsu makes his way home. Impressed with his grit and determination in the face of loneliness, Kyuta decides to accept Komatetsu as his master. Their first training session is a disaster as Komatetsu is unable to effectively explain the technique. Frustrated, he disappears for a couple of days. Kyuta uses this time to do the other responsibilities expected of a disciple, such as cleaning and cooking. He gets bullied by Jiramaru for being a human, but is saved by Ichirohiko, who feels pity on him. Komatetsu comes back from his hiatus unlike Togashi. He is shocked to see his place clean and his disciple beaten. Later that night, Grandmaster pays them a visit, giving them letters of introduction to meet the previous Grandmasters. The group takes the pilgrimage, asking each predecessor what real strength means to them. However, Komatetsu is not impressed with their answers. After returning, Kyuta realizes he can learn by mirroring his master's movement as he does the house chores. He becomes so proficient that he can mirror the movement without looking, even dodging Komatetsu's attacks in a combat scenario. Impressed, Hayakashobu and Tatara suggest that Kyuta teach his master this skill. In return, Komatetsu can teach him hand-to-hand combat and swordsmanship. They restart their training together. After 8 years of diligent training, Kyuta, now a teen, has become a renowned martial artist. It also results in Komatetsu gaining new disciples. After being chased around by his master, he finds himself back in the human world. He is unable to read past primary level. Keed, a young student, helps him read and they become friends. He lives a double life as Kyuta in the Beast Kingdom and Ren in the human world. After so many years absent from the human world, he finds his father. Ren learns that his dad has been searching for him since he disappeared. He only found out much later that his mother died. By then it was too late. Back at Jutengai, Kyuta makes Kumatetsu aware of his decision to go back to the human world. His master fails to stop him. Back in the human world, Rin explodes at his father as he tries to move their rekindled relationship too fast. In this anger state, the darkness within him manifests, almost consuming him. Keed calms him down and gives him a bracelet that he can use as a focus point to relax when he gets anxious. In the Beast Kingdom, the residents are making preparation for the succession duel between Aizen and Kumatetsu. Jiramaru invites Kyuta to his house to have a catch-up. On the way out, he is attacked by Ichirohiko, who also has symptoms of darkness within him. The day of the succession duel arrives. Kumatetsu starts off strong by pushing Aizen back with a barrage of attacks. Aizen defends well, quickly launching an effective counter. Hidden in the cheering crowd, Kyuta watches as his master is down on a 10 count. He reveals himself and motivates Kumatetsu to get back in the fight. With support from his #1 disciple, he breaks the sheath of Aizen's blade and delivers a knockout blow, becoming the new Grandmaster. The crowd are flabbergasted by this upset, but they celebrate nevertheless. Aizen concedes with grace as he prepares to exit. Devastated by his father's loss, Ichirohiko is totally consumed by darkness, injuring Kumatetsu with Aizen's sword. Kyuta is nearly overtaken by the darkness within him and tries to kill Ichirohiko in retaliation. Chiko draws his attention to Keed's bracelet. He regains his composure before he kills Ichirohiko. Ichirohiko disappears into the human world. Aizen discloses that Ichirohiko is a human. He found him abandoned as a baby when he was in the human world. He decided to bring him back to the Beast Kingdom to raise him. What a hypocrite! With his master's condition still critical but stable, Kyuta decides to go back to the human world to stop Ichirohiko. He meets up with Keed. They are attacked by Ichirohiko, who takes the form of a whale. He rampages through the city as he hunts down the two friends. He finally corners them, but Ren unleashes his own darkness to absorb the negative energy. A flaming sword interrupts before he sacrifices himself. It is Kumatetsu who used his new privilege as the Grandmaster reincarnate as a sword. He merges with his first disciple, filling the void within him. Now they swiftly cut the darkness within Ichirohiko without killing him. He wakes up surrounded by his adopted family, with the only clue about what happened being the bracelet. Kyuta has a moment with Kumatetsu, who now resides within him. He promises to never let his heart waver. As things return to normality, the Beast Kingdom throws a celebration in honor of Kyuta and Keed. They return to the human world. Ren reconciles with his father and decides to stay in the human world with Kumatetsu residing in his heart.